Hello, everyone. Welcome back for AI for Everyone series. I'm Kanch. I'm one of the hosts for this series. I'm looking forward to connecting you with you today on Opal. Upasna?
Hey, I'm Upasna. I'm your co-host and very excited to talk about Opal today. I think we talked about this like in the very first weeks a little bit, but we were actually, Kanchi and I were very excited to see a lot of enhancements that have come to this Opal in Gemini.google.com. So we wanted to come up with a brand new use case on like how Kanch is using it. So Kanch, over to you.
Oh, I'm looking forward to sharing it because I'm kind of falling in love with Opal as it goes. So we are going to have two, ways of showing it so that wherever folks would be able to use it, we'll be looking forward to see how they're implementing. To go for this, first you have to type opal.google.com, and when you enter inside, it just shows all of the first in the gallery. You would see a lot of things which are created by the Opal team itself. And I think, if I recall correctly, you showed the marketing maven, right, of
Yes.
how to use them. And it's a pretty neat builder, visual builder. They could use it. And for me, I love this. What we are going to see is two things. One is the first one I'm going to do is a financial coach, which I already created, but I'm going to just show how this looks like. This is like an initial screen. And I don't know, Pasna, if you have seen some of this and if you have experimented while I'm typing.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I think the best part I love about this is you don't have to be a builder or you don't have to be like feel overwhelmed by seeing all of those workflows. You don't have to create them from scratch. All you can We are using the power of Gemini to create the workflow. So all you have to do is just tell Gemini what you need in like a sentence and it goes off and starts building its thing, which is amazing.
Yeah, I just love that. So as you could see, I would just send a note, right? And when you create this, it automatically creates a visual builder, something like this, where like this is a user input, which you could see here. It just enter the sticker symbol. And then this is a generate where it's using Gemini to do something. And you can, of course, tinker around with your prompt. You can share whatever is needed, and you could use some tools. As you know, it's an important thing, and we will show these tools further. But you could see that it just pretty much uses call the function once the report is complete. It synthesizes the findings in an easy conversion, and it uses the input from stock ticker. And then it goes to the generate step, which is again, you have an option to change the prompt. You can specify how it needs to look like, what are the texts which it needs to use from, advanced settings if you need to really change things. But pretty much you have an option to do whatever you would like to. They just give you a structure for you to be able to use it, I think.
Yeah, and then I think you don't necessarily have to like if you this is a lot of text and you're feeling overwhelmed, you don't have to go and edit anything here. You can continue to chat with Opal in the same chat surface if you want to change things, and
Yeah.
it's automatically going to update here.
Yes, that is an important thing actually. You can just change anything in the steps if you don't want to go and look at here because it's overwhelming. And it has a lot of options for you to be able to save the output, and do things with it, which is like for me, as a visual builder, for me it's easier for to have it and review it. This is the actual preview of the app which gets generated, and you can also see the console of the steps that are needed. The more steps they are, it's easier for you to be able to run if you want to run that step. You could of course change the theme of this thing if you would like, and you could just navigate to the new app. And for us, like say if I were to say go stock, um, let's see what happens, because what happens at that time is it's executing each of these steps and then creating a report that is consumable for you to be able to use it. And Upasna, do you want to walk through this share and publish while it's
Yeah,
creating?
of course. Yeah. So I think you can again share this with anyone you want to. It is just like as we had shown with AI Studio as well, like it creates like an application that's already deployed. And so it has its own runtime. And so you can just share it with someone and they can access it, they can use it. You can also share the workflow so people can go ahead and then copy it and make their own, right? Which is great for collaboration. if you're in a new business or you're starting something and you want to prototype with your team, like this is like the perfect tool to do that.
Exactly. And like there is the duplicate app. So if you want to create another app from the same one, but you don't want to display it, just change it. You can copy
I
the
like the
JSON
version
structure.
history too, right? You see on the top, like because a
Yes.
lot of the time, sometimes I'll go down a path and I don't want and I get stuck that the workflow is too complex. You can always go back to a prior version and start from there. So that's pretty handy.
I agree. I agree. This is like a pretty cool feature, and it
Yeah.
is taking a bit to get the answer, particularly because I also think it's the way the system works. But while it is being progressed, why don't we jump to the next one and then come back here and see what happens? So this is another app which we created. This is an open house planner. Essentially, if you give the address of the open house, it looks at the weather information, it gets the fine details, and then it consolidates the information in a HTML page. That is exactly what we developed. But the interesting thing here is we use tools here. This is the tool stack, and we use those tools to be able to build it. And you could even use memory, which we didn't use. We just used search maps and get weather, but you could pretty much use any of those.
Yeah.
Thing, Upasna.
No, I was going to say that the use memory is going to be pretty useful, especially if you're having a conversation and you want to come back to it later and you want like say it's like a more like a chat interface and you want to like retrieve something that was spoken in the past, it would be like really, really cool to. So I see that we have an error, which actually shows that there could be some errors. And now the good thing is we can also have like Gemini debug this for us.
Yes. I would suggest we do have to debug that, but in this thing, all of those, like I do need to go and revisit, but in this thing, any of these debugging can happen here, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, so it would be very easy for you to be able to um, debug and then use it. Let's look at it. Let's run it through and see what happens here. I'm just going to give an address, which is, I don't even know if it is a real. Massachusetts Avenue, Cambridge, MA. Let's see what happens. And then it needs to find out and then get the weather and find the map of that information for it to be able to process. And I think this should go much better because in this case, I didn't build everything from the scratch. I just used the tools to be able to do it. So
use the out-of-the-box tools which you already have. They're already pre-set up.
So there is no human error in this. It's just pretty much the tools which we are using. So it's pretty useful for you to be able to create an app, everything end to end by yourself. And it's visually pleasing. And there is an option for this to get it into Gemini itself because that's how we saw this, right? Like, you could see that in your gems as one of the gems which are being available for you to be able to use it.
So you should
that's how I think, Upasna, you demonstrated, right?
Right. So basically you just go ahead and publish it and then it becomes a part of your library.
See, look.
That's awesome. Yeah, this is already like.
Yes, it has the primary list.
Right? Yeah.
It is pretty neat. Like it gave a map. It it specified the information. It gave all of that information for you to be able to use it.
Yeah, I mean, it could again, this is the first version, and you can continue to iterate on it because I think we could the interactive map could use some more work, and maybe you could add more features around pricing, or if you also have an API that you want to integrate with, if you provide the API spec, I have checked that Opal can actually call that or use that as your own tool. Yeah.
I did not know that. So it's a tool you could just install. Oh, wow. That is amazing. Yes.
So I think that, their possibilities are endless here, but we would definitely encourage you to give it a try yourself and see how it works.
Yes. So looking forward to see what you're going to try. And we are happy Women's Day to everyone who is watching. And we are looking forward to see you next week.
Yes. Take care.
Bye. Take care.